Do you guys know that I pay for both, actually all three, iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud? All three. Yeah, low-key we're out here balling because music is very important when it comes to the workflow. But what's going on, everyone? Hayden here, coming back at you with a brand new video. And in this one, looking at the topic right now, this is going to be a good one. How to go from $0 to $500, $100 to $500, wherever you're at right now, to roughly $500 a day with influencers. This is an interesting one, and I feel like a lot of people don't fully grasp how to do it with influencers because it's very different than with Facebook ads. Influencers, you're gonna run into a couple problems, especially when trying to do a certain number every single day. So that consistency becomes very tough. We're gonna start talking about this. I wanna jump inside of my computer and really go through this and dive in depth. There's a lot of money to be made with influencers, a lot more than just $500 a day. And you can save $500 a day in profit, in total sales, it doesn't really matter. It's the same exact principle. If you can make $500 a day in revenue, just scale it up and then make $500 a day profit, which would be whatever your margins are, 1,000. So with that being said, you guys already know the drill. Like the video, hit that nice looking subscribe button, and let's jump inside of my computer. Okay, first of all, this is something most people don't realize. If you want to get to $500 a day, or honestly any number, but consistently, like doing that every single day, right? 7 days a week, 30 days, 31 days, however many days are in the month, your biggest problem, without a doubt, you know, sure you can run into little obstacles and stuff along the way, doesn't matter. Biggest thing you're gonna run into is consistency. That can be very difficult on Instagram, and let me tell you why. You're not running a campaign where it's kind of like, it just runs 24/7. You're doing a shout out for a set amount of time, anywhere from a few hours to 24 hours, and then it's done. So you have to keep talking to the influencers, keep lining up these shout outs. You also can't, or I guess you technically could, in my opinion, I would not recommend doing influencers every single day. If you have the same influencer, like you don't want to run the same exact page every single day, because you're just gonna kill it, especially if you're running it for the same product with the same picture and the same ad copy. So consistency is by far gonna be, I don't wanna say your biggest problem, but that's gonna be your biggest obstacle. That's the biggest thing you're gonna have to overcome. That's gonna be a challenge. Now, aside from that, there's a few steps and little things you're gonna have to do to get there to whatever number you wanna hit. I just did $500 a day. That, in my opinion, let's say that's even $500 revenue. That's $15,000 a month. Let's call it, and with my margins, that'd be about $6,500 to $8,000 profit, roughly. That right there, that's like 70K a year, 80K a year. That replaces what most people make. So that's a good number to aim for. That's a place to start. From there, you have insane data. You can really scale on Facebook. But steps to get there. Start small. This is what I always preach. Small influencers, you don't need to spend money for a larger page until the smaller ones in that niche are working. Very basic. However, now when people try and scale, right, they're like, okay, making a little bit of money with small influencers, like 50 bucks a day. How can I start making 500 a day? They try and just go to bigger pages, and while that is something that works, you would just tested a lot of these small pages. So you're already in contact with them, you know their prices, you know it works. So what you can do is you can just start stacking the small ones too, not just trying to do bigger ones. Because it's not always harder to reach out to bigger pages. It's tough to get a response. They get more DMs, they get more emails, they get more inquiries. So it's a little bit harder to reach out and get in touch with them. So while you're trying to do that, still do the small pages. But if you already know a page works, just keep running it. Abuse the shit out of the small pages until they're done. Honestly, that's what I would do for a few months while you're scaling into the bigger pages. But you don't need to try and scale that fast. This is something I see people mess up on a little bit with Instagram. That's more so a Facebook thing, just because it's like, they're like, oh, let me raise the budget from $5 to $500 because I made a $6 profit. You know, that's just gonna kill any potential that you have. But with influencers, don't necessarily try and scale fast. You don't need to. Start small, slowly build up, work into bigger pages. Yeah, you wanna make the money fast, but is that really your only thing? Like if you try and do that, if you try and do it as fast as possible without fully knowing how to do that effectively, you're just gonna honestly end up going backwards and not making any money. So it's like you're gonna kill any potential you have, which is, it's just a mistake I see a lot of people make. And with influencers, yeah, your issue is gonna be consistency. If you're trying to run this stuff, let's say you have, I'm actually gonna give you guys a scenario here. Let's say you have 5 influencers. You've run 10, let's say 4. 4 influencers work. Okay, how often should you be running these pages? This is something I constantly get asked. My very simple answer to that is 2 to 3 times a week. 2 to 3 times a week. However, I'm never, ever gonna run 2 to 3 times a week on an influencer page for the same exact product with the same picture and same ad copy. That's just stupid because they saw it 2 days ago. So like, yeah, some new people might see it or whatever, but they've already seen it. You have to switch it up. Even if it's just changing the picture, you know, same product, you have to change it up. So that's absolutely huge in my opinion when it comes to this. I think a lot of people don't understand how often to use influencers. Some people, and this is a mistake I made, I would just start testing more and more influencers, but when I was first, very, very beginner getting started, and a page would work or not work, no matter what result it brought me, I would never do it again. Like, that's the stupidest thing ever. I didn't even think about doing it again. It was really weird. So 2 to 3 times a week for one that works, usually only once a week roughly for the same exact post. So you don't want to completely oversaturate that. There's a few things that go into it. Like you have to just be courteous. Other people are running shoutouts on the page. It's like almost like a mutual understanding for all these people. You don't want to absolutely kill their page because then nobody else can use it, but at the same time you got to use it so that it's the most effective as it possibly can be for you. So 2 to 3 times a week, if you have 4 influencers, that should give you enough to run, I'd say probably 1 to 2 a day. Make sure you're doing at least 1 a day. Like for me, I would rather run 1 to 2 influencers a day than have 1 day a week where it's like 7 different shout outs. You know, if that makes sense. I would rather get that consistency, which again, going back up here, that's by far gonna be your biggest obstacle. Influencers, there's a crazy amount of money to be made. I mean, I've seen people make 6 figures a day with influencers, both on Instagram and Snapchat. I haven't really dove into Snapchat yet, but I've seen that stuff. There's crazy amount of money to be made with influencers. I am gravitating a lot more towards meme pages now. Obviously, I'm still doing the niche stuff for the niche stores, but there are other things that I'm testing, other things that I'm playing into, and there's a lot of kind of meme style pages, a lot of stuff where it's like the viral videos, the funny stuff, world star type content, whatever. There's a lot of pages and they have absolutely massive reach. So if you can kind of scale into those and start figuring out how to use those effectively, it's game over. You can make a ton of money just stupidly fast. But I am curious to hear this. I know a lot of you guys are probably already doing influencers, maybe dabbling with Facebook a little bit. When it comes to influencers, what has been kind of your biggest struggle? Like, where are you at right now? First of all, give me a little bit of background. Like, obviously people are gonna have different problems at different points. If you're not making any money, your problem is gonna be different than someone who's making $1,000 a day with influencers. So just kind of curious to see where you guys are at with that. Are you running influencers? What are your results like? Is that consistent? How often? How often are you running shoutouts? And what's your biggest problem with that? I'm gonna dive a lot more in depth on influencers, maybe in a live stream later this week, we'll see. But I'm just curious to kind of hear you guys' thoughts behind that and what your issues have been. So let me know that in the comments down below. With that being said, you guys, I'd appreciate if you dropped a like on the video, and of course, join the family by hitting that nice link and subscribe button. And I post every single day, so I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow in the next one. Peace.